Hello everyone, welcome to Storytime with the Princess. Today we're going to be reading from Disney's all-time favorite classics, and the story is called Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince in a shining castle. That's where he lived. Although he had everything his heart desired, he was selfish and unkind. One winter's night, an enchantress came to the castle disguised as an old beggar woman. She offered him a single rose in return for shelter from the cold, but the prince sneered at her gift and turned her away. So the enchantress transformed him into a hideous beast. The spell would be broken only if the beast could learn to love and earn someone else's love in return before the last petal fell from the enchanted rose. Ashamed of his ugliness, the beast locked himself away in his castle. An enchanted mirror was his only window to the outside world. As the years passed, he lost all hope, for who could ever love a beast? Not far from the castle, in a small village, lived a beautiful girl named Belle. I loved to read tales of far-off places, magic spells, and princes in disguise. I yearned for excitement in my life and for someone with whom to share it. That someone was definitely not the handsome Gaston, who had announced his intention to marry me because I was the most beautiful girl in the village. I considered him to be self-centered and arrogant. Besides, I had other plans. My father, Maurice, was an inventor, although most of his inventions failed. I'm about ready to give up on this junk, Maurice said one day, kicking his latest project. You always say that, I laughed, but I just know you will win first prize at the fair. With my encouragement, Maurice finally finished one of his inventions. That afternoon, he packed it onto the wagon with his horse Philippe and headed to the fair. Hours later, we were still on the road. Well, I have to take a short detour through the woods. The forest road was dark and scary. Then Philippe heard wolves howling. Whoa, Philippe, whoa, Maurice cried. But the terrified horse bolted. Maurice had to flee from the wolves on foot. Just when he felt his strength would give up, he stumbled through the rusty gates of a gloomy castle. No one answered his knock, so Maurice stepped cautiously inside the door. Hello, he called. Shh, not a word, a mantel clock whispered to a golden candelabrum. Oh, Cogsworth, have a heart, the candelabrum replied. Then he called out, You are welcome here, monsieur. Maurice was astonished to see a talking candelabrum. But when Lumiere invited him to warm himself by the fire, he sank gratefully into a giant chair. By the time Mrs. Potts arrived with her son Chip to offer Maurice a nice cup of tea, he was quite enjoying himself. What service, he said. Just then, however, the door burst open and the beast's shadow fell over the room. What are you doing here? He growled. The next thing Maurice knew, great claws had grabbed him and hauled him off to a barred cell in the dungeon. Back in the village, I was waiting for my papa to return when Gaston swaggered in with the proposal. Picture this, a hunting lodge, my latest kill roasting on the fire, and my little wife massaging my feet. And do you know who that little wife will be? You, Belle. I couldn't think of what to say. Finally, I replied with, I'm very sorry, Gaston, but I don't deserve you. As I maneuvered to get away from him, Gaston fell out at the doorway and into a mud puddle, right in front of all the villagers he'd invited to see his wedding. I'll have Belle as my wife, he fumed. Make no mistake about that. But I didn't hear him, for at that moment Philippe galloped into the yard. Where's Papa? You have to take me to him. The tired horse carried me back through the woods. When I saw my father's head on the ground inside the gate, I knew I had to enter the forbidden castle. Lumiere took one look at me and realized I was the one they had all been waiting for, the one who would break the spell. So he led me to my father. "Oh, Papa, we have to get you out of here," I cried. But just then the beast entered. "Please let my father out. He's sick." "He shouldn't have trespassed," the beast replied. "There's nothing you can do. He's my prisoner." "Take me instead," I said. "Then you must promise to stay here forever," the beast replied. So it was agreed. The beast dragged Maurice out of the door in an enchanted carriage and sent him home. I was heartbroken as I watched my father leave. I had not even been allowed to say goodbye. But I knew I must keep my promise to the beast. Then the wardrobe in my bedroom told me the beast wasn't all that bad as he appeared. And the food at the castle was delicious. So I tried to make the best of things. Meanwhile, as soon as he returned to their village, Maurice burst into the tavern shouting, "Help! He's got Belle locked away in a dungeon!" But then he spoke of a terrible, horrible beast. The villagers decided that my father was crazy. While the others laughed, Maurice looked at Gaston for help. Gaston took his friend LeFou aside. "I have a plan." He had thought of a way to try and convince me to marry him. At the castle, I was not locked up at all. The beast had given me permission to go anywhere in the castle I wanted, except the West Wing. Soon the West Wing was all I could think about. So when no one was looking, I crept in. I found a dirty room full of cracked mirrors and broken furniture. The only beautiful living thing was the enchanted rose glowing inside a bell jar. I was about to touch it when the beast roared at me. "Why did you come here? Get out!" I was terrified. The men and cogswallers saw me as I ran through the halls, but they could not stop me. I ran out the front door, saddled Philippe, and escaped into the freezing night. As Philippe and I raced through the woods, we glimpsed the wild yellow eyes of wolves in the darkness. But when we tried to run faster, Philippe's reins caught up on a tree branch. He reared up in fear, and I was thrown to the ground. Instantly, snarling wolves surrounded me. Suddenly, the beast's giant paw snatched one of the wolves and tossed him through the air. After a fierce battle, the wolves fled whining into the forest. But the beast had been hurt. I was about to jump back on the horse when I noticed that the beast had collapsed in pain. I hesitated, but only a moment, before I ran to his side. So that's all for today. Join us tomorrow to find out the rest of the story. Bye!